Tonight, a community is in mourning after a Hartford basketball player was killed in a shooting on Saturday. Hundreds of people are remembering 24-year-old Jaqhawn Walters. Fox 61's Brian Didlake has the latest from Hartford.
And there is nothing but smiles and laughter as people remember the good time they had with Jaqhawn Walters, who they say was taken away too soon. Somber moments for Hartford as they remember one of their own. Swarms of friends and loved ones gathered on Main Street and Rosemont to celebrate the life of 24-year-old Jaqhawn Walters. Walters died Saturday morning after being shot during an altercation with 33-year-old Jason Stone, who police say turned himself in moments after the shooting. Although Stone turned himself in, community members say the pain is still present as they remember Walters' life.
People say the heartbeat of Hartford, literally him. It touched the whole city, maybe even Connecticut.
You know, it's tough for us. You know, every time that we even think about this guy, it's something that, you know, is always a positive memory.
A memory people say will not die. Walters was a revered basketball player, graduating from Albertus Magnus before going overseas to play professional basketball.
Electrifying. You know, he was the type of dude that could do it all. You know, get to the cup, you know, score at will, but always had a positive attitude.
It was that attitude that people say made Walters so special, turning from basketball player to a legend, which is the reason people say they still can't believe this happened.
It don't feel real. Like, he supposed to be here right now.
When somebody gave me that call, I slammed my phone on the ground. I slammed it on the ground. I didn't want to hear that.
I didn't understand, because I was just on the phone with him 2 nights ago. I didn't get it.
Now all people have are the memories left behind.
I said when we was on the court, we went 10-0. I think it was at Parker. It was like, when we gonna lose? When we gonna lose? Because I actually had to go to work that day. It was like, wow, we ain't never gonna lose. It was like nobody could stop us.
And many more people have similar memories just like that one. However, Stone is being held on a $1 million bond and is being charged with 1 count of murder. We're in Hartford. Brian Didlake, Fox 61 News.
Brian, thank you. Albertus Magnus sent out this statement that says, in part, for those of us fortunate enough to know Jaqhawn, or JQ, as he was affectionately known to so many, we remember his beaming smile and larger-than-life personality, bringing joy to everyone around him, whether it was on the basketball court, in the classroom, or in spaces across our campus.